What's up, everybody? It's the Alex Leak and Friends NFL podcast, back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak. I got Dustin on the show. What's up, Dustin?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, good to have you back on. And we have a special guest on the show, two-time former NFL head coach, Hugh Jackson. It's an honor to have you on the show, Hugh.
Hey, glad to be on.
Yeah, good to have you back on a second time.
Absolutely.
So we're right in the heart of the season. Week 5 just finished, and we've got a lot of action happening around the league. So it's a good time to have you on and talk some football. My first question for you is going to be this. On Thursday night, we had Bears and Bucks. Great game. Now, I'm a Bears fan, and I dig it out to a 4-1 start. How surprising is it to you that the Bears have already gone through a quarterback change and are still a pretty good team at 4-1 despite that?
Well, it's not surprising to me. I mean, the guy that is in there is he's been one of the greatest backups, per se, in football.
Yeah.
You know, Super Bowl that way. So he just walked right back into doing what he does well. They put him in there for a reason. I don't think they were really happy with Trubisky. And they think that he can get them to where they want to go. They're right now 4-1 and playing good.
Yeah, and the defense is doing its part. What is your thoughts on Trubisky? Do you think that was maybe a little early of a pull for him, or do you think he is who he is at this point?
No, I think I'm not going to say he is who he is. I think everybody can always get better, but I think where their team is, is not where he needs to be. They're expecting more from that position. That position's got to play well for them in order for them to have success, and that's not happening, so they made the change.
Yeah, that makes sense. Dustin, you have a question?
Yeah, my question was, so on the last drive of the game, Tom Brady seemed to forget what down he was on, signaling to the officials, the number 4. Mm-hmm. Have you ever experienced anything like that while coaching?
I haven't. And again, you know, a lot of people are dropping that at Tom's feet, and I get it. He's the quarterback. He should know. There's no doubt about it. But we don't know what the situation was at the Patriots. We don't know if the coordinator was saying, hey, Tom, it's 4th and whatever here or 3rd and whatever here, and you get accustomed to something, and all of a sudden it doesn't happen because he's in a totally different environment, different players, different everything. So I think you got to really help him out. But at the same time, I know he's a veteran. He should understand. But those things happen when you change environments. Those are the little things that start to happen, and you look up and it costs you a game.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a good take on that, though. It blew my mind to, you don't expect a, 6-time Super Bowl champ, 43-year-old who's been, 20th year in the league to do something like that. But like you said, new environment, maybe it got to him a little bit. Mm-hmm. The Atlanta Falcons fall to 0-5 and fired GM Thomas Dimitrov and Dan Quinn after the 0-5 start. A big reason for that is the Falcons' inability to finish games, blowing big second-half leads and going all the way back to the Super Bowl. What do you think? Why do you think this team is having such a tough time finishing games, and how would you combat that? Would you be more aggressive passing to keep the score, keep piling up the score, or more run the clock, running game, ball control?
No, I think you'll be amazing. I think you'll be amazed at my answer. I think there's all kind of ways to do this. Mm-hmm. I mean, Coach got to figure out what's best for him. But trust me when I tell you, Coach Quinn was doing anything and everything that he knew to do to make it happen. Anybody that think he wasn't is mistaken. When you're losing like that and things not going well, you work even harder. You spend more time. You do everything just a little bit longer in order to try to get the success you want. So I know that he tried, but you just said it earlier. Things haven't been the same since the Super Bowl loss.
Yeah.
And that's what it's been. I think people have to recognize that it has been different. It is different. And that's what they're dealing with.
Yeah, and a lot of that was a lot of injuries throughout, not just this year, but previous years too, get lost in that. Dustin, you got a question?
Yeah, so on Sunday, the Bengals fell to 1-3-1, but number one overall pick Joe Burrows has been playing pretty well. What have you seen so far from Burrows, and do you think he has what it takes to be the Bengals franchise quarterback in the future?
Oh, no doubt. I think if they protect this young man, he's going to bring them some championships. He
Wow.
is what the first pick of the draft should look like, play like, act like. Didn't play as well this past week, was playing a really good defensive football team, but the fight's there and talent's there. And so I think if they surround him with what he needs to be successful, I think he will be.
Nice. Now the Texans started 0-4 and fired GM / head coach Bill O'Brien. Interim head coach Romeo Crennel gets the first win of the season for the Texans. Do you think it's possible, in a general sense, to be a head coach and a GM, or do you think that's too much responsibility on one guy?
I think it's tough. I really
Yeah.
do. Having somewhat been thrust into that role in Oakland, but also having seen it being the head coach, you have so many hats you have to wear, and I think just doing those is hard enough, and then you add that element on, I think it gets even tougher.
Yeah. Yep. And then you see a trade like DeAndre Hopkins just adds on to it with the scrutiny and all that. Dustin, you got one?
Yeah. So on Sunday, for the very first time, which doesn't happen very much, Derek Carr outperformed Patrick Mahomes, which led the Raiders to a big win in Arrowhead. This might be the first time, but have you seen anybody out? Sorry about that.
Go for it.
Did you evaluate Mahomes coming out of college, and what do you think makes him so special?
Oh, I did. I think the fact that he was around athletics, his dad was a big-time baseball player.
Mm-hmm.
He saw some things early in his career, early in his childhood, I should say, that kind of stuck with him, and you can see him. But the thing that the guy has, one, he's very talented throwing the ball. No one can throw the ball like him. On top of that, and I witnessed that at the workout. So there's not a throw he can't make. Number two, I think he's so competitive. He wants to be perfect at what he does, and he works at it. It's important to him, and he has a way of rallying his teammates around him in order for them to play well.
That's a good answer. I just thought of this too, and tell me what you think. The new up and coming quarterbacks that can make all the throws and drop their arm angle and all that seem to also have played baseball. A lot of them, whether it's Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray. There's another guy I can't remember now, but a lot of these guys have played baseball, and then that seems to transition pretty well into the quarterback play and being able to throw from different angles. Do you think that's a key?
Oh, yeah, it is. I mean, those guys, they're playing shortstop. They know how to get the ball out of their hands and turn it over to the next guy. So there's no question that baseball has a correlation for some quarterbacks in the National Football League.
That's very cool. Now the Arizona Cardinals, they improved to 3-2. The nice win over the Jets. I know you prefer a bigger quarterback, 6'2" and up. What do you think of what you've seen out of Kyler Murray? He's on the shorter side, smaller hands, but he has a rocket for an arm. Do you think he's got the ability to take a team deep into the playoffs?
Yes, he does. I mean, I think we all recognize that there's outliers too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's one of those. He's very talented. He has a different skill set than most. The thing he can do that most top quarterbacks can do in the National Football League is throw it. What he has is he has the ability with his legs that a lot of people don't have besides Lamar Jackson that way. He can score from anywhere on the field because of his speed and his quickness. But he's very talented. Until 2 weeks ago, I thought he was in the MVP conversation.
Yeah.
Because he was playing extremely well and the Cardinals were winning. So hopefully they can get back to winning, and I think he'll be talked about even more.
Nice. Go ahead, Dustin.
Yeah, on Sunday, the Washington football team fell to 1-4. They had benched Dwayne Haskins last week in favor of Kyle Allen. It appears that Washington has given up on Haskins. I disagree with the way they have handled Haskins and believe he deserves better starting in the NFL. He needs more weapons around him. What do you think on how Washington has handled Dwayne Haskins?
Well, I think when you hire a new coach, I think that coach has the leniency to make decisions about what he wants at quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens, I mean, Coach Rivera did not draft Dwayne Hackett. You know, he's going to draft his quarterback of the future. So I think we all have to understand that sometimes, and I say this all the time, talent doesn't fit everywhere, you know.
Yeah.
And you have to have the right fit in order for things to work. So I get it. You know, again, the organization drafted him. Everybody wish he could have still been the quarterback. Obviously, the Redskins have made a decision, and they're going to move on. I truly believe they will here pretty soon.
Yeah, and Kyle Allen, and it was really nice to see Alex Smith back on the field after such a, scary injury and long rehab process. It was really nice to see him back as well.
No, it was. I mean, what kudos to that young man for working extremely hard, and the doctors and his family, everybody supporting him for him to have a chance to be back out.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go to on Sunday. The Niners fell to 2-3, and starting quarterback who was just in the Super Bowl last year, Jimmy Garoppolo, was pulled at halftime in favor of C.J. Beathard. What's your opinion? People have had split decisions on Jimmy G on if the defense and the pieces around him carried him to that Super Bowl. Some experts think that the 49ers should look into moving on from Jimmy Garoppolo. What do you think of that situation?
I would give it some more time. Obviously, there's, where they say where there's smoke, there's smoke. There's something on, for the coach to pull him and us not think it's an injury, that's concerning. So hopefully that's they can work that out. But obviously, I think the young man is very talented. He's not probably playing as well as he can. And I think, this pandemic's going to affect everybody a little bit differently. You hate to say that. It's going to affect quarterbacks. It's going to affect coaches. It's going to affect executive teams. It's going to affect a lot of people. And maybe, there's something going on there. We hope that's not the case. I'm not talking about from a physical standpoint or a medical standpoint. I just think everything that led to this, sometimes guys can't get that off of them.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's so many dynamics that go into it. And so it's hard to pinpoint exactly one issue all the time. Dustin, you got one?
Yes, I do. The Cleveland Browns improved to 4-1 for the first time since 1994. A lot of praise going to head coach Kevin Stefanski. Do you like what the Browns have built, and do you think this is a team that can get to the playoffs this year? What do you see when you watch Baker Mayfield and this Browns offense?
I think they're playing well. Obviously, I think he can still play better. He's turned the ball over a little more than I'm sure they would like, but he's winning. And that's what you're looking for, especially when you're in an organization that hadn't won a lot. So I think the coaching staff is doing a tremendous job. But I think we'll find out more about who they really are this week because they're starting, they're going to play the upper echelon of that division, being in Pittsburgh, already played Baltimore. That didn't, go right. So we'll find out if they're really, really ready this week. Last week, the test against the Colts, they aced that test. Now, can they do this next one? If they do, then I think people will start having conversations about them being a good football team.
To that point, the Browns are doing a good job of running the ball. It sucks that Nick Chubb is out now for some time, but, they got Kareem Hunt, that other running back, I forget his name, DeErnest or something like that. But do you think – so a lot of fans and certain media and people are saying it's a passing league and pass, and, you got to sling it all over the field. I think what the Browns are doing well is having a balanced offense and running the ball successfully. Do you think that's still a vital part in offenses in 2020?
Oh, absolutely. I think you go back to San Francisco last year being in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
They were rushing teams. I think the ability to run the football when people know you're trying to run it is special. When I look at what the Browns are doing, it's special because even though they've done it a little bit with reverses and arounds to help them, the quarterback is not running. He's not a runner. So they're being very, strategic. I think they've done a great job from a scheme standpoint, of doing the right things and giving the players a chance to succeed.
Nice. And then this is a perfect question for you. The Dallas Cowboys, it sucks to see Dak Prescott get injured in that game on Sunday. Prayers out to Dak and wish him a full recovery and be just as good as he's ever been coming back. But now the Cowboys turn to backup quarterback Andy Dalton, and you were his offensive coordinator for 2 seasons with the Bengals, and around him for 4 or 5 years there. You would know best. What will Andy Dalton bring to the Cowboys offense, and how can Mike McCarthy and Kellen Moore get the most out of the Cowboys offense with Dalton under center?
Let him be who he is. I mean, obviously, him and Dak Prescott are two different people. And Cowboys are built. They're built, in my opinion, to fit Andy's style. I mean, they have Ezekiel Elliott they can hand the ball to. They have all kind of pass catchers. I know they lost their left tackle, but Andy's played with some, below average left tackles before. So he knows how to play the game. He's won a lot of football games. And so I truly believe that he'll do a very good job. I think they're poised to win the division if they can go play better defensively, offensively, and special teams.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how that looks. I've always been a Dalton fan, so it's nice to see him get another shot at it. Dustin, you got a Seahawks question?
Yeah, on Sunday Night Football, the Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson delivered a game-winning touchdown drive pass to DK Metcalf to beat the Vikings and improve to 5-0. Do you think this is the year where Russell Wilson finally gets the MVP votes after not receiving none?
Well, I tell you what, no one's had a better September heading into October than Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
He's done some tremendous things. Obviously, he's throwing a ton of touchdowns. He's bringing his team back last drives, last quarter. He's done it all. So he is showing that he's one of the best in the league, and he's doing it week in and week out.
How about that DK Metcalf, too? He is, the best word I can use to describe it is he's a monster. How do you defend that guy?
No, he is. He's a really good player and very physical, fast, can make all kind of catches, acrobatic catches, any kind of catch you need. So
yeah.
Excited about what they're doing. I think they know they need to improve defensively in some areas, but that's Pete Carroll's specialty. So they're going to be around in the end here when this thing's all said and done.
Do you think Russell Wilson is the top candidate right now for the MVP?
Oh, I think he is. I think his play has shown that he is in any conversation when people talk about MVPs. You have to talk about Russell Wilson.
Yeah, absolutely. And so this is an interesting conversation here with the Vikings up 5 and facing 4th and inches from the Seahawks 5-yard line late in the game. Head coach Mike Zimmer elects to go for it on 4th and inches, try to get the first down and be able to run out the clock. Instead, the Seahawks force a turnover on downs and go down and get the game-winning touchdown drive. In my opinion, I think Mike Zimmer should have kicked the field goal here, extended the lead to 8 points, and then worst-case scenario, you're tied. What do you think on that decision?
I think, you have to do what your heart says, and I think analytics sometimes have a role in that because normally it says you go for it, you make it, you don't need to do anything else. You've won the game.
Yeah.
All depends on the information that Mike was getting. Just me knowing Coach Zimmer, he made a decision for his football team that he thought his team could do. So he trusted the men on his team. They went for it. They didn't make it, and obviously they lose the game. So everybody jumps on the coach, and I get it. They would have been up 8, which means they had to score and go for a 2-point play and make it in order to tie the game. So
yeah,
a lot of questions.
It's easy to blame the head coach, right?
Yeah, very easy. But I think, you got to do what you think is right. And I think the players will rally around that. So whatever it was that he did, I guarantee you the players truly believed in it too.
Yeah. Dustin, what about Monday night?
On Monday night, the Saints defeated the Chargers in overtime, but rookie quarterback Justin Herbert made plays throughout and made some throws that did not look like a rookie. What do you see when you watch Herbert as a rookie this season?
He's been impressive. He's been real impressive, and I want to give a shout-out to my man Pep Hamilton, quarterback coach. I think he's doing a fantastic job. It's hard to mentor those young quarterbacks when they come in the league sometimes. He had Andrew Luck before, and now he has this young man, so Pep knows what he's doing. This guy's playing good. He's giving them a chance to win and be in games. They're not losing because of him, and I think that's a great coaching.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch. The Chargers could have a bright future with him. Now, on Tuesday night, we just watched the Titans roll over the Bills 42-16 behind 4 Ryan Tannehill touchdowns. Looking back at Tannehill in Miami, I don't think many people expected him to be doing this, on a different team. Why do you think we've seen so much improvement in Tannehill's game since leaving the Dolphins? Do you think it's a better fit with the Titans organization and their offense?
Absolutely. I think it's a better fit, and there's nothing like the motivation of getting let go from
Yeah.
the team that you were at first, and wanting to understand and know and respect that you are a good player. And to me, that's the way Tannehill's playing. He was always talented, just didn't play at a high level all the time, but that's what he's doing now. And whatever the reasons are, I think he's thankful for it, and I'm sure the Titans are too.
That's awesome. That's a good answer. Hugh, how are you feeling about the season so far? I think the NFL has done a pretty good job battling COVID, and we're heading into week 6. How do you think the NFL is doing, and do you think that they can keep it up and we can get a full season? That's what all the fans want. That's what everyone wants.
Absolutely. I think the NFL should be commended for the start of things. I think great job. I think COVID has kind of spiked a little bit lately here in the league and caused some. We had a Tuesday night game for the first time since 1946.
Yeah.
So we've had games canceled, games moved. I would personally like to see there be a little bit more thought process to the players and their families, loved ones. I say that because when you watch basketball and what they did, they were able to make it through without any issues.
Yeah.
Not expecting football to go do a bubble type environment. Could they? Possibly. But my thing is, it's still got to be about the players. There's a lot more football players than there are basketball players. So I think at one time I was hoping they would reset this thing and maybe take a couple weeks off, reevaluate everything, and then jump into it head first. And here we are, But again, nobody wants work stoppage. I get it. But at the same time, I just want to be safe for the players, because the one thing people don't talk about is what happens with the players that get COVID.
Yeah.
You have symptoms, real symptoms. How is it messing with your respiratory system or the insides of you change? And so really talks about that, and that's concerning.
Yeah, it's scary. And then you talk about possibly bringing it back and being around family and stuff like that. So it's definitely a concern. But
we just heard today that Nick Saban has it.
Yeah.
So, and it's so funny. So does the AD, but you don't even hear them talk about the AD.
Nick Saban's a star, right? Yeah, that's crazy. But, I think they're doing a pretty good job, and I hope that we can get through a full season. I don't mind Tuesday night, Wednesday night, whatever football, as long as we can get through it and hopefully, be as safe as possible in the process.
Yeah, you might not mind, but the players do.
Yeah, absolutely.
For those guys, by far.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate it, Hugh. Thanks so much for taking some time to come on. It's awesome to have you on the show, and for a second time, you're the man, Hugh.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
I have one more question that I'd like to ask Coach. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go for it, Dustin.
As me being a diehard Colts fan, it is paining me to see Phillip Rivers still in the starting lineup after throwing only 4 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, 2 which are for pick sixes this season. Do you think it's time for Jacoby Brissett?
Yeah, I do. When I watched the game against the Browns, I was concerned that it looked like the game is starting to pass Phillip by. He's a tremendous competitor, has been great at what he does, but Father Time catches up to everybody. You don't outdo it. And that's not the Phillip Rivers I know. And they're not playing the way he's accustomed to playing, and that could be the reason. But he's also not delivering for them neither. So neither one of those things are good.
Yeah. Well, there you go, Dustin. You can start your Jacoby Brissett.
Again, thanks, Coach, for answering all my questions.
Sure.
Yeah, we appreciate it, Coach you, and you know, it always means a lot when you take your time out of your busy schedule to come on the show. So we really appreciate it, and hope you have a good one and a good rest of the year.
You got it.
Thank
You
you.
got it.
Have a good one. That'll be it, guys. Appreciate tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let us know what you think. Appreciate all the support, and have a great week, guys. Peace out.